Traveler. Oh my gosh. Now I have to dig this up. There we go. All right. Put you guys over here. So if someone would present,
Yeah, I'll get it here in just a moment.
and at some point in this, we may have some noises or music coming out. It shouldn't be, it's not going to be set loudly, but just warning folks. Give a heads up when we get to it, if we get to it. So I saw everybody did their roles, and don't feel bad, for those that didn't notice or got them in kind of late, because I kind of was tardy myself, trying to write a summary of the results of those roles. So I'm gonna take the roles and either reply them to what happens tonight, or just use those same roles for next week or next time that we play this. So they won't go to waste.
We're
But the
assuming we're
important this is true. You made your backup characters, right? Well, actually, you have, right? I think everybody has, but um, you've got your brothers. I think the only one that might be in trouble is C, who actually tends to have both of his on the same ship at the same time. So,
you know what they say about eggs in baskets, right?
yes.
That's okay. I got a whole repertoire of them where I just sit around idly and roll up characters.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, if
It's
you put them all
Traveler,
in one basket, it's easier to carry all your eggs.
All right. Well, does everybody remember where we parked?
After dealing with a sentient battle dress.
Yeah. That. So that triggered an intense round of cleansing, shall we say. We need to track down where this and that's been, and see what's going on. Remember, the result of that was you had tracked down that launch that had carried the commune and ended up having to destroy it because it was on its way up to the Ortheim and had already killed the people that were on board. So yeah, there's something very, very strange going on, and the science types are still looking into it. You, on the other hand, we're going to go check out what those two wayward explorers found, Yamamoto and Oma. That were lucky enough to stumble across a long lost jump probe, the Munin. So, because you're trying to figure out where Lemika's next move is, you didn't see him or really any signs of him at Way Station 1. So where else could they have gone? And that's really the only other thing that's within like jump 2. That particular destination's not even that far. I think it's only a light year out. So it's actually a fraction of jump 1, but still going to take a week. What all did you want to take with you? And I have some recommendations, and see if you take it or not. For your normal crew on the Eliethia, you've got Bitterman and Pris, Virgil, Samuel, Loki, and Bob, Anna and John both. Anna acting as the medic, and for your shit with 4 turrets, you need gunners and marine types. Oh, okay. So I'm bringing Janice as well.
Sid's a gunner. Loki's an engineer. Where?
Okay. Let's get those guys over here. And let's put Sid and Janice. Okay. So Angela and Emiko, who were 2 of Uma's angels, Una's angels, shall we call them, wanted to come along as your battle dress drivers, because you remember the last time you went out, you had a couple of battle dress installed in the bay and a couple of just red shirts essentially that were driving them. Well, now you have those 2 NPCs available, and they want to come along and do that role, if you're willing to allow them to. And to fill out your gunners.
Sid, but it's up to
What's that?
wherever you want him.
Okay. And you may remember, let's see, this guy. So those of you that got shot down very early on, you may remember this guy. He was one of the passengers on that launch that he got banged up pretty badly. Yeah, well, it's been a
Yeah.
few weeks, since all that, and he's recovered, and he's volunteered to come with. He's a mechanic and a gunner as well. He's a member of the deck faction. Used to work in the shipbreaking yards, but he knows a thing or two about ships, and he can help John, with that function. So Marcus is actually very loyal to you guys because you literally saved his life. And yeah, he's all in. So he'd be one to have, a good one to have lying around. They have replaced the ship's launch that you lost early on. The one that you sent after that, the larval form of the Mont Salamis thing, and the two of them met and the launch lost. So you have a pilot for that launch if you want him, and that's this guy right here. He's a flight, kind of a junior guy, some experience, but this is dangerous stuff. So it's been an all volunteer show, and he's one of the ones that stepped up and volunteered and would has high marks from those that mark such things. So if you are accepting of him as your launch pilot, that'll free up you guys to do other duties. And then, now this is entirely up to you. So Dante has a suggestion, but leaves it to you, and that is these two. They've already been where you're about to go. Now that doesn't necessarily mean a thing. It may just be that they just had raw dumb luck and getting the Munin and coming back, but they did show pretty substantial resourcefulness in doing that, surviving and making the trip back. So that alone.
Who did they work for when they got hired to steal that ship?
Yeah, that's the other bit. The Relemicans. They're actually not from Rithful Landing. They're Relemicans, or at least they were part of a community more closely allied with them than not. So that would be the reason not to take them. But currently, they're kind of pissed off at Relemica because they feel that he's sent them out there to die. He needed people, to man the ship on its trip, and didn't give them a way back, and didn't tell them there wasn't a way back. So they kind of have a grudge against the big cat dude. Up to you if you want them to come along or not.
It is one of those. It's kind of like,
Chris might get hungry. Could be useful to have him around.
yeah, snacks.
Yeah. So back there, you just have Chris staring at him all day long, and they're like, what's that?
The only thing I won't press gang them. If they want to, I'll give them the options. Like, you want to come with us? If they don't, cool. Because I feel that if we try and Shanghai them or press gang them, that's going to be an issue.
They have a grudge. They have a grudge against the Relemicans, and this is maybe their one way to to get back at them. They don't, and they'll admit freely that they actually don't have a lot of additional information to share. They've basically told you folks everything they know and everything they did, and in fact, the logs of all that are probably better stored in the Munin than their own memories. So that isn't the reason to have them along, but they do say they're pilots. They know how to operate ships. One of them's an astrogator, one of them's an engineer. That's one of the reasons they got hired by the Relemicans to do this, trained by the Relemicans even to do this, to do the initial trip.
Do we trust them?
No.
I'd rather not have them.
Dante is no, I don't trust him.
If we can't trust them, I'd really rather not have them with us.
I'm I'm with Steve.
Okay, fair enough. That does not upset me. Lots to keep track of. Okay. So those two stay behind. And that leaves you with this group over here. So you got 12 folks coming on this trip. All right. Cool. All right. So let's start with an astrogation roll. Not so bad. So you have the coordinates that you've harvested from the Munin. They look pretty solid. It's not that far in terms of jump capability. Certainly not a challenge for the Eliethia. But still, like all jumps, it's going to take a week to get there. You know, it's a week regardless of the distance. You're pretty confident in the fix. Won't make you roll any of the rest of the stuff. So you take off, you get a fair bit of distance, spin up the drive, and poof, off you go. Loki, roll your health, your endurance, just base endurance. Oh wow, look at that! You remember how the last trip you were violently ill the whole damn trip?
I do recall that.
You're still ill this trip, but you're feeling, hey, I think I'm getting the hang of this. You know, you realize not to eat certain foods. You know, the foods that would tend to not settle well with your stomach. You know, somebody comes up with this nice, wonderful stew that no, it's like no, I can't do that. You know, because you almost feel like you're throwing it just looking at it. And Anna has come up with a little bit of a cocktail to kind of settle your stomach and make it a little bit easier. Basically, a mild sedative in addition to restrictions on food intake. So you think, cool, I got this. All right, everything's cool. Day one. Let's see. And this is where those fate rolls of yours start coming in. And the thing is that you rolled those fate dice, and basically everybody rolled a 6. So so we'll have to do this right. All right. Bitterman, roll an intelligence roll. Just an intelligence check. You're kidding. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. That's good. All right. All right. So there are 4 decks on a Gazelle, but really only 2 of them are habitable normally. You know, the top and bottom are decks for cargoes, fuel, the turrets, the launch. So the places you live are those middle 2 decks, and those are reflected on the map. So you're in the lower deck. You're going to your stateroom from the crew lounge, where you've had that meal that Loki can't eat. Pris, is already kind of curled up in the stateroom, and you're about to open the door, and the door doesn't respond to you. And you see a little. They're stateroom doors. Remember, staterooms are essentially like mini life pods. They have their own built-in life support systems. The doors are airtight and can seal. That looks like that's happened. Your door has sealed.
Seems like par for the course for Bitterman. Things just don't like to work out for him.
Yeah, he's just unlucky.
It's not that he's unlucky. It's just the world has it out for him. Everybody's against it.
The world is just luck and randomness. Yeah. So, but Bitterman, sigh. What does he do about it though?
Goes the other way.
Just doesn't think anything about it. Okay.
That's what I was trying to get at. Yeah, he just doesn't think twice about it.
So where do you go?
Where was I trying to go, you said?
Well, you were headed to the stateroom. Let me put you on the map.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map. I just don't know.
Yeah, let me get Pris. So you're on that lower deck, the deck that's on the right side of the map, and Pris is in your stateroom, and you were trying to get into your stateroom, but the door said, nah.
What's this room? It looks like a kitchen straight due south of me.
That's where you just came from. No, that's where Loki is looking pale after having not eaten dinner.
Let's see. What do I
In fact,
have?
we'll go ahead and put Loki over there too.
Is there any tools in there? I have mechanic skill. Maybe I can open the door manually.
Oh, sure. Yeah. A ship like this, there are tools everywhere, so you can look at a nearby panel and see what you see.
Yeah. We'll just manually force the door open.
Okay, so no problem. You pop a hatch. Beep.
There's a second
Look in
Loki
there
over there.
and-
Do you want me to?
Say what?
There's a second Loki. Do you want me to delete her?
If she doesn't protest, sure. So you, okay, poor Loki. So you pop the hatch and you look in there, and the problem is immediately apparent. There's a hydraulics leak. They're hydraulically operated doors, and you see that all of the hydraulics is just it's dripping out. Not sure where the leak is just yet, but okay, no problem. You can reach in there. The manual, yeah, you joke, but hold on a moment. So you manually open the door, and you glance in there, and you see that the stateroom's dark. Not even an emergency light flickering. But you do hear there was atmosphere, so there's no differential pressure. As you open the door, it doesn't go psst, or anything like that. But you do hear Pris kind of whimpering off in the darkness there.
Uh-oh. What is it, Pris?
So you go in the room.
Call to Pris.
Okay. Let's see. So the Pris comes tumbling off of the bed, kind of wrapped up in the sheets. It looks like she jumped up there in a hurry, which happens from time to time. Think cat. And got tangled in the sheets there, and just tried to stay still and hidden. But at the sound of your voice, kind of leaps off and struggles out of the sheets and scurries out of the room, and it almost bolts down the hall, but then realizes you're there, not following, so it kind of comes up right beside you on the other side of the open hatch. And it's clear to Bitterman, she looks scared.
What is it, girl? What happened?
Yeah, Lassie. Really? Timmy's in the well? Okay, yeah. Well, let's see. Do you have an appropriate skill to try to interpret Pris? You've actually done a pretty good job of this in the past.
Yeah, I have an animal skill.
Yeah, go for it.
1 and a 5, so 7.
You're not really sure. I mean, she's clearly fearful. It looked like she was panicked, but seeing you, she's calmed down significantly. It's the pack thing, right?
Who is the ship engineer?
And Loki. Can Loki smell the hydraulic fluid?
Well, give yourself an intelligence check, and you got that Varg nose, so we'll give you a bit of a bonus.
Bitterman wants to go complain about the room to the manager.
Okay, so to that, yes, but only because you're actually yeah you can at this point, we'll say. So you can begin kind of curiously, what's that? Now that Bitterman has popped that hatch and the odor is beginning to pervade. Yeah, you go into that central corridor connecting the crew staterooms, and it becomes much stronger. And you see Bitterman and the Pris there. And Bitterman, yeah, Loki would be your ship's engineer, but it's really you, John, and you, and lots of other folks that do the kind of the maintenance on the ship. That's kind of a shared duty.
Well, I'll mention it to Loki. See what we can do to fix it.
All right, so
See what caused it.
Bitterman points out there's a hydraulic leak on the door to his stateroom, and the Pris does not look to have been the source of it, because you can't see any trace of hydraulic fluid on her fur, and you haven't really examined the thing yet. So how do you want to proceed?
I guess we need a flashlight first. You said the lights were out.
In the stateroom, but yeah, no problem. You've got that kit. Any sort of standard routine tool is easy to come by almost anywhere on the ship. Spaceships are dangerous, so we like to have our tools. Okay, so why don't you guys roll mechanic or an appropriate let's find out what's going on with this thing. Investigate if you have it. All right.
Yep, he's still having stomach troubles.
Okay, so the two of you poke around a bit. Okay. It's not. You made the joke earlier to look for Pris's teeth marks, and what you find is not Pris's teeth marks, but you do find claw marks. Something that looks a lot like claw marks, and they're not off of an animal that you recognize. The Pris has a very particular arrangement of claws and fangs, and it's pretty easy to see that. Okay, that crate that got broken into, the Pris did it, right? Because
Mhm.
right.
Well, the second I realize it's a claw that doesn't match Pris, we'll definitely put out alert on the comms. We've got company. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's human sized is probably the best way to describe it, with similar spacing between the fingers. But yeah, it's definitely very sharp claws, raked over the one of the outer cylinders, and that's what's really impressive about this is that they were sharp enough that they actually pulled back the steel and exposed the inner workings of the cylinder. Doesn't look like this was done. Doesn't look like that was necessarily the intent, but that was the effect of whatever just happened.
Yeah, like I said though, definitely warning everybody.
Okay, so everybody on your comm dots. Yeah, there's something going on down here.
Yeah, Bitterman remembers the clawed creatures coming out of the ground before. So
At that look, he's going to back up. Wait for something with somebody with muscle can get here.
well, let's go get something to arm ourselves with, Loki.
She did. She called Bob.
Yeah. So what are the rest of you doing hearing this news?
I'm definitely gonna stay wary of stuff.
Yeah, we'll say that. Samuel, Virgil, you're up on the bridge. Just
Sid
gonna,
will grab a weapon and head that way.
Sid grabs a weapon and heads that way. All right. And Angela and Emiko will go do what they do best and find their battle dress, which is in the cargo hold. Okay. And Sid, we'll say you're going to join these guys. All right. And that leaves Bob is going to go over there. So where is Janice, Anna, and John? Janice will what?
Janice was eating.
Okay. So Janice is there. Actually, yeah, why don't you just put your characters where you think they would be? So we'll say Marcus is over here in engineering, along with your pilot. Okay.
Well, if the stateroom door was broken, check the computer, see if it's showing anything broken that wasn't broken before.
Okay. Make a computer roll. Whichever of your characters is doing that. Alrighty. Okay, right. So you're doing system checks up there on the bridge.
Yeah.
All right.
I imagine John's monitoring the jump drive. And
Okay. Again, yeah. Put John where you figure he is.
docks or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Just kind of plant him in there in the engineering space. Yeah, wherever you want him, and
Yeah.
that's where we'll start him. And I'm gonna draw this thing. See if it'll cooperate with me.
So, what are the rules for firing DSAP rounds inside of the ship?
Firing what?
DSAP.
Don't. The ship, it probably won't hurt the ship. The ship has armor that can, this ship especially has armor that can withstand like a direct hit from a 16-inch gun from a battleship. It's just enormously tough. But the interior, people's things on the inside, maybe not so much. Okay, so let me find.
Yes, they have a specific type of gun that is designed for use on board ships. This is a snub gun. There's snub pistols, snub rifles, snub carbines, snub semi-automatics. submachine guns, everything.
Bitterman's really good at snubbing people too.
Well, when he was grabbing a weapon, that's where he would grab instead of his Gauss rifle. Like his Gauss rifle falling on his back.
All right. So apologize for it not being easy to see, but here you go. You do see, and this took really digging because a normal the system will alert you if something serious happens, right? It's not that you have to look for every little thing all the time. But when you start digging and you're looking for minor faults, that flag for maintenance issues, you do get some unexpected things. Number one, in the on the lower deck, lower right hand side, your starboard airlock leading into the engineering space is showing a seal break on the outer door. Several of the some of the engineering equipment. Mostly in that space, we're talking about energizers, backup generators, batteries, that sort of thing. They're showing things like over voltage, over currents, not enough to shut them down, but something again that's flagged for maintenance. Again, you have this problem with hydraulics on this one crew door, like there. Then you have a control issue with the bottom particle beam turret. That was the same one that you had issues with before, so that may actually be just a carryover.
Yeah, that's why I said things that weren't broken before.
Yeah,
We probably got a
but
list.
an over 100-year-old ship. But there you go. There do seem to be an unusual cluster of things in the lower deck starboard engineering pod. That's near the power plant, but not in the power plant.
Well, you joked earlier about where is he, Lassie? Oh, Chris, do you see where it went?
Chris gives you, initially kind of a fearful look, but then a look of determination. Pack hunter. The pack's with me now, right? And she takes off down the hall, runs through the mess,
Follow that.
and then goes, follow that Chris, and gets to about there, and then stops, kind of staring at this door, the door into the engineering spaces.
I bravely wait for Bob.
Well, Sid was right there on Chris's tail.
Bob does what Loki says. So what? Bob's there. What do you want?
He's
Bob
going to fix what was broken in that room.
Okay, so Bob, if you're going to wait for Bob, then Bob is busy repairing the door to your room there, Bitterman. So
I would tell Loki, let's follow the Pris
Yes.
before more stuff gets destroyed.
okay. So at this point, we've got Sid, the press, Loki, Bob, maybe Bitterman, maybe. Looks like Janice is nearby. Angela and Emiko are getting in their battle jets, but they're not ready yet. It's not just a jump in it and turn it on sort of thing, right? But they're getting
I
prepped.
thought that stuff was so advanced it could turn itself on. What's taking them so long?
Yeah, it can under the right circumstances. We don't want it to, right? So yeah. So let's start with Sid, who's right there with the press. You were the first one on scene. What do you do? You got this door. It's closed. It's not locked or sealed. And it's indicating atmosphere on the other side. Everything seems to be normal. On the other side is the power plant room. It's the main power plant for the ship. So you've got energizers, the fusion reactor, all sorts of fun stuff.
Crack the door and stick his gun through. What does he say?
Okay, roll your intelligence.
Oh, not intelligence.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm not hearing it, but
Let me close on and open him again.
I actually should have set this up before. But while we're waiting for that roll.
2d6.
Yeah. Just your intelligence. Sid's intelligence is what we're after. All right.
That silly pop-up was stopping me from.
Wow, there he is. So Sid cranks open the door. sticks his gun in there, takes a look around. You see what you initially identify as a shadow along right here. And given the lighting there, you would expect whatever's casting that shadow to. And this room is actually tall. There's some. It's 2 decks high. So you might expect them to be on a catwalk above. But when you look up at that catwalk, you don't see anybody.
Hey, Chris, can you point it out for me?
Yeah, Chris actually knows what you're trying to do. You don't have to roll for it. And she points her snout right at that shadow, which kind of causes you to focus on it more. We're shooting the power plant. Whee! So what weapon do you have?
This is the one that I picked up that was that Eric mentioned that was a ship fighting one. I just
Okay.
rolled the 2d6 for the ACR.
So ACR is not a ship fighting one.
No.
Gotcha.
So
All right.
I don't know how.
So a snub something. Yeah.
Yes.
The snub means frangible. I mean, that's the whole idea. It hits something solid, then it disintegrates, so it doesn't damage it. All right. So the rest of you hear gunfire. You hear. We'll call it. You picked up a snub rifle. There are such things. So you hear. A snub rifle is not as menacing sounding as an ACR or a Gauss rifle or anything like, or other weapons that you have at your disposal, but it's very distinctive, and everybody that's been in space has heard one. So everybody knows that somebody just fired off a snub weapon. And here's what you see: you see your rounds hit the shadow, and there's almost like an indentation effect, but the shadow then bounces back. The shadow bounces back, and now that you've fired at it and gotten its attention, it turns on you, and it looks like this.
Give him out there, and he closes the door.
Well, is it good?
That is not good.
Who has the big stabby thing?
There are a couple actually.
He's got one more thing to do for him.
No, we have a particularly good stabby thing. Who has it? That's what Bitterman's yelling. Where is the big stabby thing?
It was
He's trying to fire a stun carbine, Sonic.
Hang on, let me get this in here. Okay. As I recall, Samuel had the blue stabby thing, and Janice has at least a sword, and John has a halberd, a red halberd. So there are stabby things at your disposal.
But that's what Bitterman is yelling. We need a
Who
stabby.
has the good stabby thing? I love it. Yeah. But let's let Sid do this last thing. Go for it. You had a stun baton, stun something or other?
Yeah, it's just a stun. It's let me roll a 2-hit with this one. But
Okay. What is the weapon exactly?
a stun carbine, a Sonic stun carbine.
Okay, I see. I understand. So let's see how you did. Oh, that's a pretty good roll. You definitely landed a hit. But again, it feels like it ripples over the surface of this thing. And as it turns towards you and begins moving, kind of leaping out in your direction, it begins ripping out bits of the power plant that it had attached itself to right behind it, which triggers red alarms and an annoying sound in the bridge area. It can't do so much damage so quickly to the power plant that the ship goes boom. That's not what's happening here, but it has damaged the power plant.
Ladies, we're on a time crunch.
So, Sid, you want to dodge an attack?
Sid wants to dodge an attack.
Okay, go for it.
What's that? What is that roll?
Do you have a melee roll? If not,
Yes,
just your
I do
base
have melee.
dexterity. Yeah, melee or brawling, because that's what's happening. He's trying to grapple you. Okay, yeah. You kind of dance out of the way. The door shuts in front of you, seals itself. The Priss, almost instinctively tried to bite it, but wisely pulled back at the last moment. So you guys are like this, and it's on the other side with that door closed now. All right. So what do the rest of you do? Now, those of you on the bridge, now that you are aware of where the action is, you have a camera on it. You can see, okay, this is not good. And you just saw Sid fire into it a couple times with various weapons to almost no effect. And it lunged at Sid. Sid danced out of the way and got on the other side of the door before it sealed shut. But there's definitely damage that's evident on that part of the power plant. One of the power regulators feeding into the ship systems. The other one's intact, so the ship's still functional.
Activate the mashers and grinders and automated laser defenses that are in every ship's power system.
That's right.
Having heard the shout about stabby things, Janice will run to her quarters because she wouldn't have had. We're in jump space.
Yeah, you don't want to poke holes in the ship. Definitely not. So it'll take a round for her to do that, climb the ladder, and get where she needs to go. Janice is off getting a stabby thing. Actions from others. Now, John, where did you put yourself?
I'm upstairs.
Okay. So, John, those two are over there. So, John, you're actually able, if you wanted to, if you open that door, you could look down on this thing. This whole area is, big and tall. Two decks tall, the jump drive, the main power plant, you name it. So you're literally a door away from it, and a catwalk all around there.
I got you. I don't have such melee equipped either, so if I got it on a camera, I saw that weapons aren't doing anything to it.
I think everybody has an idea that where it is and what's going on down there. You could pull up a camera view.
These things are always fire or ice. Which one do we have?
We can vent it and see if that won't freeze it out.
When he says that, we tell him what we found from the hole in the side. It probably came from space.
Yeah, there's some superficial evidence that it actually may have come from outside the ship. Which is, okay, hold on, wait, what? We're in jump space. Nothing comes from outside the ship.
Into that airlock, but still through that same door we could vent it.
Yeah, you could definitely pull the air out if you want to. And it's not going to hurt the equipment in there at all.
That's a good idea.
All right. So, John, you just do it. You're there. You're in engineering. You have access to the controls you need to do it. So, if you want to, roll the mechanics roll and let's see what happens.
All right.
Okay. Yep. No problem. You begin evacuating the air from that chamber. Do you do so in a controlled fashion or explosively?
Explosively, I may not be able to recover it. And then jump space, that wouldn't be a good idea either.
Yeah.
Right, better do it.
Okay. So it'll take a moment or two. Those of you that are here on the other side of that door in the lower level, you see the green light above the door turn red, and it seals itself because there's no atmosphere. Atmosphere pressure is lowering on the other side. It detects, says, okay, there must be a breach or a leak.
And you said we could monitor it from videos.
Yeah. What you're seeing is it's kind of feeling around the door. It's spread out over the door itself and kind of sending out feelers and as though it's trying to get through.
Sid says if you don't have air, get out of the hallway. And Loki's going to put up her suit helmet, and get out of the hall.
Yeah, an eminently practical suggestion. So, anybody want to tell Priss about that?
Yes.
Yeah. When I move, Chris will move with me.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're out of there as well. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have oxygen on. I don't see why I would have in this situation.
Probably. Well, that may be true of Bitterman. Folks that have any that regularly work in space almost always wear a suit while they're on ship, even when things seem safe. But Bitterman, this is
Experience,
you
but
will learn from this experience. But right now, yeah, you're the one guy that was walking around in your your coat, and you're kind of relaxed. You were about to turn in for the night, and damn. Okay, so Bitterman, you're back up there.
yeah, I was carrying my hot coffee from the mess, wearing my fuzzy slippers.
All right. Sid, you do have not your combat armor. Not people don't walk around in combat
Right,
armor
right. I've got
usually. So, but you would have a suit. All right. So here's what happens next. Let's see. So that red light that's up over the door is also accompanied by another light that indicates that it's safely sealed. That light turns red, indicating that the seal on the door is beginning to fail. And those of you that are watching the camera view see that, yes, it is not instantaneously, but it's somehow working its way into the mechanics of the door, and probably similar to what was going on with Bitterman's stateroom, is going to breach that door by disabling the hydraulics.
Sid's going to stay outside of it, but he's making sure this door is sealed. Make sure Bitterman's not behind me. And he's going to stand in the line.
All right. And Janice, where do you want to land in all this?
Well, I assume once we see that we're having trouble, that it's working on the hatch, from the bridge, we'll sound the decompression alarm.
Okay, that's done. Everybody that wasn't aware that oxygen might be a problem, it is now. These guys up top that were in the port side engine spaces, they continued their work. They heard, okay, there's something crawling around, but that was kind of non-specific. But now they hear that klaxon, and they're like, what? So yeah, they're getting prepared.
And Janice, I guess we'll have to take a little bit longer because she'll have to get a suit on.
Okay, so we'll give you another round's worth. All right, which means make a strength check. Oh, okay. And one other thing. Oh man! All right, here we go. The engineering hatch is shoved aside. Now, about only half the atmosphere had been evacuated from that space in there. So, sure enough, this much smaller compartment, that Sid, you're in, explosively decompresses. And there's only one place for the air to go. And Sid, because that was your strength roll. Hold on, you didn't. You go, boom. The door is not completely open yet. It's only cracked it maybe a third of the way. Now, there's not so much of a pressure differential or a volume of air that Sid is forced through the gap, but you hit it hard. Bam! Hard enough that you actually take that, 11 points of damage. Now, that is mitigated by the suit's DR. Typical suit is like 6. So there you go. You're still taking 5 points of damage from the impact. And then it reaches through to grab you. So what do you want to do? You are pinned at this door with the thing reaching these gibbering maw tentacles through and kind of surrounding your extremities.
He is going to attempt to direct his weapon away from anything else except the thing that's attacking him, and then fire it off, like
Fire.
Shoulder or something.
Okay.
Very
Well,
unsafe.
go ahead. Oh yeah, and it's not in a position to dodge either. So yeah, you're getting solid hits, but it's almost as though those hits just get directly absorbed by it. It's as though they don't pass through it. They kind of go boom right into it, and it doesn't seem to slow it down one bit. Make a strength check. This is your attempt to try to break away from this mess. Okay, and we'll give it a shot. This is why you have two characters, man. Okay, you fail. Oh man. All right. So it bites.
I've played characters with missing both arms before. That's not so bad.
Yeah. Well, this is a traveler, right? You know, we see roll for survival. Well, here he's really failed to survival real bad.
Dante was very familiar.
Yeah. Okay.
My endurance is 6, and I've taken 7 damage. Does that mean anything?
It was 11 minus 6, so you're taking 5 so far. So you're down to 1 endurance left. And now you're just taking 4 more, and the leg it rips open the one of the suit legs and exposes it. Now I'll give John a moment to react to this, but the main space is still evacuating, so the overall air pressure is still going down, and that's one reason why you're still pinned. You know, it's pinned there. But that does mean that your suit is not going to be able to deal with that. You are now being exposed to very low pressure. It's not zero pressure, but it's much lower than is healthy.
Hey, can we
All
get
right.
air back down here? It didn't hurt the thing. It was hurting me.
They can't hear you because there's not enough air.
But we're still in the same round. As soon as I see what's going on, I was going to restore it anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And you don't need to roll a mechanics roll for that. We've already established that you have the means to do that. You're just like, hell, this didn't work out at all. So, turn it back on. At this point, Janice, you can show up.
Okay.
Stiletto. Oh yeah, okay. You pulled that out. You're right. Stab. Get off. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Stop moving for just a second.
No, he can't hear you. Sid, you can't hear anybody or can't speak to anybody. But Janice tells you to stop, but all you know is that somebody's talking to you, and you don't know because it's just that little air in the suit right now.
He's going to freeze, hoping that somebody's going to shoot.
Not a shoot.
I try to cut him loose.
Yeah. And it definitely fails to dodge. Feel free to roll your damage. Which one do you have? Your red or your? The sword. It's 66. Goddamn. So Sid, you're step, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know is this blinding red slice comes down within an inch of your leg. It's just that close, and it just chop right through it. And the part that was wrapped around your leg that detaches just seems to dissipate, very quickly, almost as though it doesn't like being in the low atmosphere. But you're still kind of you've got another wrapped around an arm, and another one's kind of grasping at your torso. So there's still a couple of connection points, but your leg is free. That's right. And as you glance over your shoulder, you see Janice is the one that just freed your leg. Oh man. Okay. Well, let's see. See if you can hold on because you got sliced up pretty good just now. Did you beat it? You had 2 + 2 + 0. Guess not. So we'll say you free up your arm, but you still got that bit that's kind of half around your torso. So others that want to take an action. John, you flip the switch to reverse it. It's pumping air back into the space. Anybody else has something they want to do?
Hannah's been made aware she's suiting up and trying to get down there for med purposes.
All right. So on the other side of the upper engineering space, Paul and Marcus come out through their door into the space and start firing at the critter from their side. They just have snub weapons, and they don't have any effect, but they do have the effect of kind of getting its attention. So its attention is divided at this point. Other actions.
Um,
And Janice, you can take another slice.
okay.
I'm just gonna root for Janice.
Go Stabby. Oh man. Okay. Janice is really good at this. Yeah, that worked very well. Go ahead and roll your damage. Oh boy. You get a big chunk of it. You know, you actually kind of slice a bit of it out along with a bit that's wrapped around the abdomen, and it retreats away from the fire that's coming up from above and away from that door, kind of back towards the starboard side nacelle. Underneath where you are, John, by the way.
Right.
One deck below you. And that frees up Sid. So, Janice, you can pull Sid back, you know, away from that door. It's still slowly, you know, getting repressurized.
Yeah.
And Anna can't actually come down until, you know, there's enough pressure that the differential here, you know, will make it work. But yeah, you know, Sid, you're out of trouble. And as air is coming back, make a, let's see, you went into, you lost your endurance. You went into Dex, I assume, at this point.
Yeah, I'm down 4 from Dex. Is that it?
Yeah. So Sid, you're pretty much incapacitated the rest of the fight. You know, you got chewed up pretty bad. All right. So what now? Janice, you were here at that doorway.
Okay. Well,
The doorway
after I
is
pull
not
in-
open. It's only about a third of the way open, and now it doesn't work. So you have to kind of force it open if you wanted to get past it and be a strength
well, I
check.
guess I'll be.
All right, make a strength check. Let's see how this goes. It actually, you think you've got it, but something happens to help you. That's when Angela shows up in battle dress and says, "Oh, allow me." Crunch. Doors open, and you're able to get through. You see it, the shadow thing, turn the corner into that space, and you see the door there is already kind of same situation. It's not all the way open, but you know, open a little bit.
Okay. Well, I will pursue then.
Okay. These two can't do anything more from up there, but they see that there's been damage to the main power plant, and they climb down into the lower area, and start trying to do damage control. All right, and Angela's right behind you. All right, make an intelligence check as you enter the starboard nacelle. Okay, those of you on the bridge, make a computer check.
What's the status of this door here?
Ping it again. Sealed. It's perfectly fine.
Okay. Eliethia was going to try to get through to help Sid, but
You can't when there's a significant pressure differential,
right.
and the door just won't allow you to open it.
As soon as it turns green, she'll go through and try to help Sid.
Yeah, and Anna's doing the same thing from up above, because this circle here is also a hatch that's on a ladder that goes between the decks. So, oh yeah, you guys are knocking it out. All right, so no problem. Janice, you're kind of having a hard time figuring out where it went because this is a fairly large space. But you guys on the bridge have been watching this with laser focus, so you know exactly where the damn thing went. It's making a beeline for that airlock, and you can tell Janice exactly where it is right now. Looks like it's crawling on some of the equipment trying to get to the airlock.
We'll warn everyone that it's heading for the airlock, and if it goes through those doors the same way it's been going through other doors, we may be facing another breach.
All right. So where do you want to go? Kind of move yourself into that space, and do you want to intercept it or stay where you're at, or how do you want to handle it?
I think I want to intercept it.
Okay. So you go after it. It gets to that airlock.
Open
It
it.
looks like it's already been through here, but it has not damaged that inner airlock door. Somehow or other, it managed to convince that door open normally, but right now it's waiting for a cycle but to get in, it waited for a cycle. To get out, it doesn't care. It's doing the same thing. It's grabbing the door. It's trying to, force it open like it's done these others. So that gives you a chance to catch up with it. You and Angela both. So yeah, make your attack. This character's really good at melee. So yeah. All right. And it fails. Dodge. Angela does a lousy job of following up. Okay, so we'll say that with a few more slices and dices, you're able to reduce it to effectively nothing. Each bit that you carve off seems to vanish and just roll in on itself and go and just disappear. Didn't even leave a puff of smoke. But at the end of it, yeah, it's sliced and diced and it expires. Anna, you're finally able to get down to help Sid. So why don't you roll your medic and see how that works out.
Which half is she working on?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll be good enough to stabilize them, but yeah, Sid, you're going to need some quality time and
Yeah, we're gonna
not
get
moving around so
we're gonna
much.
get you out of here.
All right. So mechanic types, make some rolls to repair the damage that you found, and let's see some rolls from others, and just intelligence check or computer if you happen to be on a computer in the bridge. See if there's anything else to see.
Chris and I will prowl the ship.
You're very confident. Yeah, it's coming in good. You're very confident that whatever that was, there's not another one of it like it. I mean, you give the ship a good once over, and you spend like 2 hours doing it, while the guys are fixing up the damage. The damage is not catastrophic in any way. It doesn't look like there was the thing was actually out to destroy the ship. It's just that it's just being there is destructive. It touches equipment and the equipment breaks. It's a ball of claws and fangs, right? So
It's misunderstood.
Are you talking about Pris or the thing we were fighting?
yes. Anyway, Pris has the advantage of being, a furry ball of claws and fangs. You're much more adorable, whereas this thing, not so much.
So it's like a rat versus a squirrel.
Yeah. So Loki, make a who has science biology, if anyone, or xenobiology. Go for it. Okay.
Very good.
Yeah, that's a pretty good roll.
That's better.
And Jack, that works too. So Virgil, Jack, we'll let you have a crack at this as well. I'm looking for a number of people reaching it. Okay, so who was it? That was Anna. So it was Anna and Virgil. You're looking back over video feeds of this thing. A few hours later, after everything settled down, you've picked up the pieces and fixed the systems and patched the hole. And yeah, it finally dings. You remember hearing about something like this that your folks told you about back on Lanth, way long ago, before this whole Rithapol landing thing even was a thing. In other words, the crew of the Necessity has run into something like this before, and they were every bit as devastating as you just saw. Never really did figure out much about them, just that they were damn tough and damn near impossible to kill.
Yeah, they didn't have glowy swords.
They didn't have glowy swords. That's right. If you remember the story right, the last one of these that you encountered, it took a point blank main battery shot from the Necessity to take one of these out. And Virgil remembers Dante saying that they talked to some Zodani that said that groups of these things had managed to take out whole planets, or rather, the Zodani would destroy whole planets to take out just one or two of them because they're that dangerous. Yeah. Okay. So
Lovely.
what was that doing here then? Does anybody want to do anything more at this point, other than wonder what the hell that was?
See if
Any
we
way
can
to-
figure out what order it went through systems and stuff.
Okay.
Is there any way to observe the outer hull?
Yes, uh yes, you do. You can. The because of the way jump engines work, you can't have anything outside of what's called the lanthanum matrix, which is the outer hull has this matrix that's built into it through which the energy that is generated by the jump drive is dumped in a certain way to create the jump field. And you can't have anything outside of that, or it won't go with you into jump space and it will actually interfere with the jump. So cameras that you have are recessed into things like the turret, right? So you have a camera back here that overlooks that part of the ship. Other thing about jump space is there are a couple of theories about how it works, but in general, what is known and understood is that what these ships do is they create a small pocket of reality in another universe, essentially another dimension, jump space. The pocket of reality is what allows your laws of physics to work. You continue to be the individuals you are without strange, weird physics changing your fundamental particles and disintegrating you or turning you into antimatter and annihilating you, et cetera, et cetera. So you bring along a little bit of the universe with you, and that little bit of the universe is pressurized, for lack of a better word, with a small little pocket of hydrogen that surrounds the ship. But immediately just outside of that, no more than just a few feet away from the surface of the ship at any point, is a sharp boundary between your reality and jump space's reality. And if anything passes past that, it's gone. There's been a lot of science about what happens, about things that pass through that boundary, and it's been basically what happens is the observations are that things turn into their constituent subatomic particles and scatter along the inner surface of that boundary. They never actually transition because they can't, but instead they become just literally annihilated and become a tiny little thin layer on the inside, like a reverse black hole. So it's bad to leave a ship while in jump space. Don't do it unless you just don't care, and then you're not going to be aware to understand the ramifications. But what no one has ever seen before is what you actually see with your investigations over the next couple of days. That thing came from the other side of that boundary and came in to the reality surrounding the ship, broke through that outer airlock door, and that's how it infiltrated the ship. Now, of course, you can't see what's on the other side of the boundary because, for all intents and purposes, that other side doesn't exist to us. It's a whole different set of physics, another universe, right? But there you go. You saw it right there in the camera. Camera says there's the boundary, and then a moment later, there's a shadow coming inside through the boundary. And the shadow seemed to know where to go. It sought out that airlock. So it acted intelligently, despite being a gibbering mash of non-furry claws and teeth.
Is there a way to detect that change in the boundary?
Just by observing it, yeah. It's not something that's normally monitored because there's never been a need to monitor it. Once it's created by the lanthanum field, the boundary is static. It doesn't move. The ship doesn't move.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
can we now come up with a way to observe it to detect any change in it?
Just your external cameras. And that gives you most of the coverage that you need. There'll still be places that you can't easily see because the camera isn't covering that angle, that you want. But yeah, you can look at it, I'll say, and you can actually use your computer to help. Say, hey, computer, keep an eye on the thing, and that shouldn't be too hard to arrange.
Yeah, there are horror stories of just getting as close as the edge of the airlock does nasty, undefined things to people. They do not generally survive close encounters with the field, even if they're not actually shoved into it.
As you can imagine, the fabric of reality is tearing down at some distance leading up to the boundary. So it's the particles are even close. You were talking about heavy radiation, and yeah, it's a mess. So it's generally a good idea to stay in the ship. Never leave the boat. Damn right.
Oh, when that thing died, did its body still there, etc.?
No, it seemed to just evaporate.
No trace, smell, anything like that?
Mm-mm. The Priss, you asked the Priss about, can you, Priss doesn't sense it. No, you just don't have a trace of it. Very much as though it was never here. So all of that occupied, that was your first day, right? And you got a week of this, all right. And your investigations and repairs took a couple more days, so you're into kind of the midweek point now. Kind of nervously looking out at this field, because that's a thing that ain't supposed to happen. Day 4 comes and goes, no major mishaps. Day 5, day 6, Sid, you're kind of able to go around on your feet now, but your legs in a splint, so you're not 100%, but at least you can, kind of make your way out of a stateroom and go get yourself a meal without having
Very
to
good.
have somebody feed you. The 7th day arrives, and your countdown to the end of the week passes, and you're still in jump space. Day 8, day 9, day 10. Now you're worried. There is significant variability between the 1 week rule. It's an average of 1 week, but it's a bell curve average. It sharply favors, right about that time period. But sometimes you come out early, a few hours early, and sometimes you come out a few hours late, and that's not unusual. But once you start staying in there days long beyond the expected arrival time, then the stories start to get worried, because things begin to happen to people. Even this little pocket universe of yours is not 100% normal with respect to your biology. So the longer you stay here, the worse it is for you. People become ill, people die just by being in jump space. And that begins to happen. You notice it with Loki first. Loki, who already seems to have a predilection for being kind of, sensitive to jump space, thought she was doing great. I'm taking that mild sedative. I'm watching what I eat. You start throwing up. It's just like, that first couple trips you had to jump space where you just reacted violently to it. You're back to that again. Others, the rest of you who felt that you were doing okay, you start to feel kind of queasy, like, your skin's prickling, and it's a very unnatural feeling. It's like you're very aware into your soul that this is not a place conducive for life.
She reruns the numbers, trying to see if she made a mistake.
You read a great role. You think you did fantastic. So as far as you can tell, there ain't nothing wrong with your numbers.
Maybe with our passenger.
Yeah, maybe. It's on day 11 that it finally happens, rather suddenly, without, because you've maintained regular watches as you always do, but you were ready. Okay, the week's up, we're going to be ready, and nothing happened. So you're not necessarily at red alert when it finally does happen that you jump out of jump space. So that too was your fate roll from earlier. So what that means is, let's see here, Virgil, you're sacked out. Samuel also, and we'll say that everybody's kind of scattered on me. John, you're on duty in engineering, looking at systems. That NPC pilot is actually on watch. That was Paul on the bridge. He can pilot the ship, but his main thing, of course, is piloting that launch. Sid, of course, you're resting up. Loki and Anna, Loki, you haven't been able to sleep for a couple of days. You're just that out. Say Bob is with John, and Marcus will put you there. All right. So we'll say that Anna, Pris, Emiko, and are in the crew lounge down there. Angela's sacked out, and Janice, you're on the bridge. All right, and we'll get back to that here in a moment. Question, and it's fine to answer this retroactively. Where did you want to emerge with respect to the target that you're expecting to find? It may not be in the same location, right? But they gave you, some precise coordinates. You harvested that from the Munin of this giant, ancient facility. So where do you want to be whenever you come out? As close as possible, as far as possible. How many light seconds? Okay. Yeah, we can do that. All right. So that is, yeah, it's actually a little bit past the map here, but you get the idea. We'll call it 3 light seconds. All right. And I wonder if this is even appropriate. Okay, so there's some music associated with it. I'm just going to show it to you and let you absorb what you see and ask some questions after it. This is it. Pop out of jump space. This is not what you were expecting. Instead of that giant station, you see that. That thing is 20,000 kilometers across. Crackling energy all playing along its surface. You're not sure what's causing that, the red glow, but it has to be. You think it has something to do with some sort of gravitational or subatomic particle interacting with that field. At a glance, it kind of looks like a giant black globe. You're all familiar with black globes, right? But black globes normally are just that, black. So this one is, it seems to be radiating. It's as though one thing that black globe generators have to do, after they've absorbed energy, is they have to radiate it back. It's conservation of energy. It doesn't just go away. Looks like that's happening. Looks like there is a radiation cycle going on. So it's kind of this dull glow radiation effect. 2, 3 ships are immediately apparent on. You don't have to make a sensor roll. It's pretty obvious they're there. You see 2 Type S scouts that are burning hard away from this thing. They're doing their max burn, 2 Gs. But right at the cusp of it is a far trader, same class as the Bare Necessity. And again, no need to roll. It shows up the Eliethia. It's old enough that the Eliethia has an ID on it. It's a far trader called the Trial and Error. Just looking at it, it's in trouble. It looks like it's been shot up. Its engines are non-functional. It's on fire, which in space, it looks different, behaves differently. But it's in no position to move away from that black globe. That's where the station, at least according to your coordinates, should be. And I've got those Type S Scouts tinted red because they're painted in the clan colors of the Relimican. They've done a little bit of detailing on them. How would you like to proceed? And you're actually further away than this shows. You said, let's see, this is, I didn't want to turn order. Okay. Where's the thing? That, yeah. Yeah, you're much further away than this. All right, I get a simple way to fix that. Actually, no, we'll just leave it like it is. You're about 3 times further away than you see on the screen.
Is somebody going to talk to him?
Yeah, how do you want to proceed? First off, you remember your crew is kind of mix and match right now. You know, you've got Janice and that and your shuttle pilot is in the bridge, so they would be the ones that see all this. What do they want to do?
Janice wants to call our other pilots and actually call pretty much everybody that.
Uh-oh, here's Cat.
Actually, there's probably we have exited jump space.
Yeah, there would be.
Little klaxon go off.
Yeah. And we'll say, everybody, except for maybe Loki, hears it. Loki, you're still like, oh man, you're so miserable.
I'm not much of a sensors person, but
You gave it a crack. I see. Alrighty.
Virgil gave it the good old college try.
what's the trial and errors vector?
It looks like the trial and error is relatively stationary. It is not drifting towards that black sphere effect. Probably drifting slowly away from it because it looks like it was trying to burn away from it at some point before it got shut up.
Well, that means it doesn't have a gravitational pull, at least.
Well, that's part of the strange thing about this. Let's see a science roll. Somebody have a physics or astrophysics, something like that. Whoops. Sorry. We didn't get. Yeah, I'm not seeing rolls. Okay, that's good enough. So you guys are kind of puzzling over what you're seeing, and you figure at this point, at least those scouts saw you arrive, but they haven't done anything about it. They haven't tried to contact you or change their vector or anything of the sort. They're continuing their burn away from that. What that science roll gets you is Virgil's correct. There doesn't seem to be a gravitational field yet. There is a distortion in space-time. It may seem like a distinction without a difference, but remember, this is the universe with jump drives. That happens, a lack of a gravitational field and yet a distortion in space-time when you are dealing with jump technology. How you doing, bud?
Okay, who turned it on?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing because the 2 people that witnessed this, they exclaimed that it was like a giant space station. Does not look like that. Almost looks alive.
Yeah, you can't even see anything that looks like a space station in that. It just looks like something with a huge black globe generator, and with the black globe generator turned on. No ship, for the military historians among the crew, no ship in the Imperium or any navy that you know of was ever able to create a black globe generator much bigger than itself. And to make something that's bigger than a gas giant, because that's what that is. It's a couple times the size of a large gas giant. Is okay. I'm impressed.
Not just impressed, kind of worried. The amount of power to do that. What's in this thing?
It must be said the Imperium was the highest tech large empire in known space. There were a couple of places that were higher tech, but they were small. And more than 3/4 of the Black Globe generators in the Imperial fleet were salvaged ancient devices.
Important point. Black globe technology was essentially not invented by the Imperium or the Zodani or the Aslan, but rather reverse engineered from ancient tech. The ancients created it. And you probably puzzled over this for about half an hour now. You're just kind of holding your position, watching this. At this point, scout number 1 here jumps away. Pop, out there. And now something makes sense. Jump drive. In order to safely jump, you have to be a certain distance from nearby gravitational fields. Well, it's not a gravitational field it's creating a distortion effect. And that distortion effect is still something they have to be a certain number of radiuses away from to safely jump. That one was far enough away. This one up top is not. And of course, the trial and error there, not at all. All right, roll. Let's see. Anybody that has access to a terminal that might be poking into this mystery, just roll 2d6. It's not a skill roll. It's more of a see what happens roll. And I know Loki is probably poking into it. So
Okay.
I assume we're not picking up any comm chatter.
no, if there was, it was tight beam between those two ships. And all right, so we'll give it to Samuel, and then Loki will notice something here. So Samuel, you're kind of closely paying attention to this thing, and you notice something that kind of says, what? You're watching the edge of this black globe, and you see it occlude a star. Say, wait. So you go look at the other side of it, and watch. Yeah, you see it occlude a star. It's growing. It's getting bigger. It's really hard to tell how fast because it's black globe, and you're only indirectly measuring that radiation glow. But you'd say it's probably growing at a rate of 10 kilometers a minute in diameter.
Yeah, that's fairly quickly.
All right. Well, we need to try to raise the trial and error. I doubt the scout will give us the time of day.
You could try.
I was going to say the scouts may have come from the trial area or something.
So you want to make a comms roll? Whoever's got it. Okay. Which one were you trying to raise there?
Trial and error.
Yeah, Sam, you're not having much luck. Virgil, you kind of. Oh wait, yeah. Hold on. Let's try this. You kind of reason that there's so much radiation there that the only way that you could possibly get them is some sort of type beam. So you try different types, and hey, wait a minute. Actually, you get something to lock in. You don't get a response. You just get you get a positive connection, but no one's answering, at least not immediately. And that goes on for about 20 seconds until finally you get a voice say, wait, who is this? Can you hear me? Whoever you are.
I respond back, it's like, yes, this is Virgil with the Eliethia.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought we were done for. And he, let me see here. I'm really hoping you can conduct a rescue. Myself and my crew, we're done for here. We can't move. We can't maneuver. There's no way to repair the engines, the damage that's been done. Most of them are in low berths right now, but I'm the only one left. I can't exactly put myself in one.
How many of your crew are there? How many souls on board?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. There are 5 of us left.
At that point, Virgil would unclick and be like, do we have room?
You can squeeze them into Eliethia, but yeah, Yeah, the Eliethia is a combat ship. It's not meant to carry a lot of people.
Unplug their low burst machines. We'll plug them in over here.
The other thing
And then
too,
we'll play a series of children's games, and the winners of the games gets to live.
well, the other thing we
Yeah.
need to consider is how quickly is it expanding, plus our distance. I mean, we're further away than on this map. Could we
It'll be
even make it in time and have enough time to collect and get out?
It'll be close. You figure as long as assuming the thing's rate of expansion didn't change, the trial and error is about 10,000 kilometers away. So it's a matter of some hours. But then again, you're 3 light seconds away. So your 4Gs, you could probably get there, but it's going to be close.
So, I look at everyone's like, want to risk it?
Well, they're not
Why
moving
not?
with the damage, right?
They're scuttling.
Yeah, they're not moving. They're just drifting. Kind of.
Do they have a launch they could move faster in if they abandoned their main ship?
No, there's no launch on a far trader. So they're literally stuck there.
But yeah, as bring it up to the crew, it's like, I don't know what that thing can do. But do you want to risk getting closer to, say, people we don't even know?
Well, they may be the only people that can answer the question of what happened here.
Yeah.
Of course we will.
Samuel,
So say we all.
Samuel votes we should go.
So any dissent amongst the PCs, or is it? Seems like it's the NPCs, of course, will go along with what you say.
So
Anna says I'm gonna give you a close scan of that thing anyway.
so
She is,
I-
yeah. She is.
well,
Yeah.
I was going to say Virgil, looks at the pilot skills, punch it.
All right.
So at this point, he's basically assigning
nice.
roles. He's going to assign roles. Anyone with good sensors, tabs on the globe, and engineers and the jarheads make room where we're going to put these people, and we need some people that know what they're doing with their suits to help collect.
And that'll be Angela and Emiko in the battle dress. They're really experts in that.
Right,
And-
so they're gonna be catchers. Go ahead, Matt. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. I'm just setting things up.
So, yeah, but that's what Virgil's doing. He's literally just like, you do this, and after a minute, after he's done that, he kind of gets back on the line with whoever it is on the other side to get, kind of calm him down, get his name, kind of tell him what we're up to, how close we are, and to get everyone ready. And he asks for, if it's possible, if he can get the black box, all the logs and everything of what happened with the ship, any scientific data, anything they got. If he can get it, awesome. If he can't, it's no big deal.
Okay. I'll do what I can. I absolutely will try to get you everything I have access to. I have to. The bridge is all smashed up. I need to go down to the computers and make this happen. So I'll be right back with you. Stay. Just don't drop this channel.
How
And-
long of a time is this?
It's going to be like 4 hours before you arrive, but it's a 6-second round trip comm delay. 3 light seconds out.
So
Prepare a quarantine area for our guest.
yeah, Virgil's about to make sure, once everything's been cleared out, we need to quarantine it. We need to have people keep eyes on.
There's not going to be enough time to get them out of low burst, so we're going to have to move the low burst, which they'll do that.
But you can't keep
Right.
them in low berth because you
They're
don't
gonna have
have
to
the
come out of it.
supporting systems on the you can bring them out on the Eliethia, but you have to get the tubes, and remove them from the trial and error.
Then once that's all done, we'll vent the low bursts.
Area. It's small, but we have a cargo area.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have need of the low bursts once we get them out of it. They're just, unless we need them for spare parts back on the real world for a ship with low bursts in it.
So about 10 minutes, you light off the engines, you're getting all this organized, and 10 minutes into it, you lose comms with the trial and error. He hasn't had a chance to get back to you with all the information that you'd asked. You'd had that solid communication, and then it goes away, and don't have to roll it. But on sensors, you see that the trial and error has just lost all power at that point.
We need to move quick then.
We're moving as quick as we can.
Yeah, well, we can't speed it up, but a sense of urgency to do what needs to be done is probably just accelerated. So, can we see if there's anything? The bridge was damaged, so there's no way we can actually get a signal to him. The way we can pop a flare or something, something bright that he would notice.
Just flash your high beams at him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
shoot him with a laser. Yeah, all right. Yeah, they'll
We're
notice that.
slowing down. We have a pretty bright light source heading him around.
Yeah, when you're on the flip around and decelerating, it is noticeable. But again, even at these distances, when you're tens of thousands of kilometers away, even a ship doing decelerating at 4G is just a tiny little dot. When you get closer, it'll be easy to notice you. So yeah, you guys, flurry of activity. Several hours later, and the sphere effect continues to grow at that constant rate. Important note is that everybody remember your geometry. As the diameter of a sphere increases, its volume increases by a cube, right? So you would expect that if there were some like a pressure pushing out from the inside to expand it, its rate of expansion would slow down. That's not happening. The rate of expansion is constant, which means that the volume inside is increasing at an exponential rate. So, okay.
well, basically, it's like, all right, we got a time limit.
Yeah, you got a time limit. Yeah, that's it in practical terms.
So
you get to the trial and error, and let's see a piloting roll from whoever's doing the hot dog flying trick. See if you can come alongside. It doesn't look like it's going to be possible to dock because it's the hard. Oh, okay, that's good enough. So you have to get fairly close, and you do that. And your folks, in battle dress, they motor over. You see, there's a suited figure waving, and on one of the personnel airlocks that they managed to get open, and it's open all the way in. There's no atmosphere in the ship anymore. They just opened all of the doors straight to the low berths. Yeah, so you just go in, grab it, and leave. So in low berths capsules, they need Anna over there to assist with disconnecting the low berths. So let's get Anna to make a vac suit roll. Did you catch that? Okay, good.
Yeah, wasn't that
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, well, you smack against the hull of the trial and error, but Emiko manages to pull you out of it. So you didn't roll 2, so you're not tumbling off into space. Okay, so you start disconnecting these low berths and handing them off, and so you see there are 4 of them. There seem to be 2 human males, a Varg, and a drone. You manage to. It takes about 10 minutes to do all the shuffling and shuttling and such, but you get them all on board, and lay them out in the already crowded cargo area, because you have a tiny cargo area on this thing, and get to work trying to decant these folks. Your folks in battle just come back over. They escort the person that was in the suits, who, whenever they get aboard, removes their helmet.
Mm.
Dun, dun, dun. Not everybody would recognize this person, but a few of you would, and a few of you do when you finally see her. But probably the first person to see her is Anna, who probably does not recognize her.
Right.
But yes, this is Eliethia, the Eliethia, who doesn't look like she's aged a day.
Yeah.
and she just profusely thanks you for saving them. Who, by the way, because you'll want to know who you're decanting, is come on, this guy and this lady and this guy and this guy.
Hmm.
Extra points if you remember that last one.
I don't remember the name. That's about it.
Okay, I'll give you a quick refresher. First off, Cap, Tam, and Sharpie were the crew of the Ramble. They're the folks that came and helped out you folks on the world of aggressive antihistamines, right?
Yeah.
You know, Ivandoe that had the trees that would kill you if you breathed in the pollen.
Mhm.
But these folks were the ones that drove out in the truck and came pick you up. They were friends of the crew, right?
Yeah.
Well, here they are, and it's none of you recognize them. You don't have any idea who they are, but it's as a meta thing, it should be quite surprising to see them here, 100 years after that game.
Yeah.
But then again, you just decanted them from Lowbirds.
Right.
And then this guy, Norvin Panusian, was the fellow that created the totally innocent looking plants. So that's where we'll pause it.
Yeah, that's definitely a whole bleep moment.
All right, good deal. So blast from the past, all around.
Thank you, Matthew. We're going to see Tam again.
Yeah. Tam survived, and the cool thing I think about bringing these characters back is they can probably give you some really good info on what happened.
Yeah.
The fall of the Imperium. So we'll see how that goes next game, and then you have your lost in space evil doctor character over here who's gonna throw monkey wrenches and everything, and then Eliethia herself, who has a lot of explaining to do. So, all right, cool. Yes, got you to this point.
All right. Cool.
So, I guess we didn't hear from Cedric about his interest in the Cyberpunk game tonight, but
Yeah, he hasn't responded to his Steam messages since the start.
yeah, it looks like he's away. He's AFK. So
He might have got a lot of food. I don't know.
that happens to me. Yeah, big meal. Yeah, totally. So, what are your thoughts at this point with Cyberpunk, or have you developed your plans any further?
No, I've got my plans in order, at least how I want to start it all. But yeah, I was looking over everyone's characters and everything, and probably what we'll do is everyone's an unknown to each other. It's sort of senses until you're all brought together, kind of like a Ocean's 11 style.
Okay, there you go.
It's kind of what I'm thinking.
And who the hell are you? I'm the man with the hat.
I'm the man with the gun.
Yeah.
Okay, you win. I ain't never seen this hat stop a bullet.
No,
Pretty fun.
Although I guess that's an upgrade you can get in Cyberpunk. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you can have a hat like what was his name in James Bond, Razor Edge.
no, I need a bulletproof Huggy Bear hat.
Okay, well, I think everybody here has at least Neff is about to read about characters, so we're very close to having at least character ideas.
Yeah, we're in a good concept stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're getting there. We're making progress. Yes,
Good act so far. They seem like good people.
wholesome, very wholesome. Yeah. What is it, buddy?
Yeah, I want a hole, son.
Oh,
with enough ab, you can buy one.
what is it? Ow. Crap, he wants to play. Ouch.
Yeah, mine was doing that earlier.
What are you doing, bud? See all those people? That's right. You don't care, do you?
There's two people on screen.
I didn't know
Yeah.
you had a little kid, Matt.
Very little, yeah.
They change forms in everybody's household, right?
It's like not
Oh
this
yeah,
again.
yeah. It's a natural thing.
Yeah, all people kids do this.
You're
I mean, it'd be weird if only yours did.
True. It's gotta be everyone else's.
You play a sax?
I'm the sax guy. He's the Holzer people guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
The flames coming out of it. That's right.
classical music's coming back. It's jazz, man.
Yeah,
Oh.
you know, you're right. It would be kind of be considered archaic by
I like how they
cyberpunk
portray
stuff.
death metal as being classical.
Yes.
Find you a copy of Night Train to play in the background every time you're on screen there, man.
Yeah, actually, that might work. Maybe get some Huey Lewis going here. I know that's trumpet, but same idea.
You've been to trumpet,
Yeah, I'm good.
same thing as the sax.
Totally identical. Totally same sound. That's right. No, you're right. I actually need to find a good sax performer and say, okay, yeah, that's kind of the soundtrack for this character.
Please, no Kenny G.
No, no Kenny G.
I beg
What's
you.
the saxophone sound for the guy that went around on the meme videos with no shirt on?
Oh, it
pranking
was.
people?
It was. Oh my! It was.
I think he was playing Careless Whisper.
It
or
was.
something.
It was Careless Whisper. That's exactly what he was playing.
Matthew, my current favorite jazz saxophonist is Boney James.
I know Boney James.
Yeah. My favorite track at the moment is called Drumline, so that'd be one to pick.
Okay. Well, let's see. You guys won't hear it, but I will. Boney James. Let's see what we got here. I'm sure somebody has it. Sample of it. Yep. There we go. I like it already.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's even got the hat. Look at that.
I've actually seen him
Yeah,
in concert.
I can totally dig that.
Maybe a little more modern than you want to do, but it's throwback for that time period.
Well, that particular one starts off with kind of a funk beat to it.
Yeah.
And I've already told you about, me and funk music. That's my programming music.
Yeah.
If I want to code, that's what I play. Which kind of blows the minds of the younger kids, the younger programmers that just say, you play what to program? They're doing hip hop or whatever else, classical. No, I play funk music from the 70s. Yeah.
Hey, you gotta be one with the mothership.
Oh, you can be one with something. One with that semicolon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Steve was going to be a tech.
Yes, I noticed that.
Oh, I get you.
I patched the holes other people put in you. So
Heard. So, Chris is the Rudy Tudu shoot 'em up and character.
Yeah, we hide behind him.
Hey, those guys look mean. Take care of them.
I'll go distract him over here.
You just see 3D jump on a car, start playing the sax. Whoa, what's that guy? Then they all get shot.
Yeah. That's going to
Yeah,
happen
they all
more than once.
Was it like Snake Plissken? When this hits the ground, throws the can up, shoots them anyways. Or the can even drops. But time period wise, I think I was looking at 2045. So
Yeah, that's what I was telling them before you got on the call. That's when that book is based in. So I was like, oh, cool. Okay, I didn't realize it was before the events of the video game. I thought I played the video game, but
yeah, I was reading something from one of the creators. How he's talking about, it's like everything goes in a decade, like these crazy events, and he says, you can, that was just a video game, but you could run any game. You could run Cyberpunk 88 game, if you want. It's like that's how we made it. It's like, but for those who like, to be told where you're at, it's 2045.
yeah, I was laughing how some of the older books are in the past now. Like,
Yes. And their and the technology that they reference, was archaic, 20 years ago. And the books were written, 30 years ago or 40. So it's really amazing. Your tape decks, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I like looking at the inspirations behind some of the can't leave home without it.
So yeah,
heavy metal, Chromebooks.
ironic, since
Yeah.
there are Chromebooks,
Yeah.
and every child has one. Who says we're not going to Cyberpunk? That's right. That's right. You replace Arasaka with Alphabet,
Yeah, that's exactly true.
We're in a nuke alphabet.
Only methods to it, you know.
Only Johnny Silverhand will.
Yes.
But yeah, but as far as for me, I'm good to run next week for session 0. If we need to take a little extra time for characters, I'm okay with that. But
Well, Bill hasn't gotten started yet because he's still reading the book.
Yeah.
Page in the book is how to build a character. So apparently it has a step-by-step process. I don't know.
there's
and
there's
it's
3
quite
separate
easy, yeah.
processes. 3 separate processes. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah, one is make your character in 30 seconds, 30 minutes, or 3 hours. You know, it's your pick.
Exactly.
And I picked the 5-minute one because it took 2 minutes to read it, and then I did it in 30 seconds or something
Yep.
like that. But I think, yeah, if you're ready to proceed, you know, even if we're not all totally fleshed out character-wise, we can do that as we go. So,
Well,
as
by
we kinda get
definition, we
comfortable with
won't
setting.
be all totally fleshed out.
Right.
How
Absolutely.
much humanity have you lost today? Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that's kind of why I was wanting to do a session 0, kind of like a 2-part, ensure everyone's good to go and nurse you along, and then okay, now I'm fully in control.
Hey, do you have Sed's email address? And just pass it on to Peg here. He can send an invite to the Roll20 thing, and you can get those two in touch, so they can kind of work out what his scheduled desires are.
Yeah, because I just copied the link address for sending.
I don't know that I have him in any of these chat groups here. I'm not sure he wants to be, frankly. We can be chatty here. Let's see.
So I think he's in our Saturday night game hangout already.
Yeah, let me check. It's a bunch of people, much more people, even more people, lots of people. I don't see Cedric.
A late afternoon gig next week. I may be a little late.
I think it's just that name at Gmail. So
All right, let me look him up here. So, John Prince?
Yeah.
Cedricin at gmail.com corresponds to John Prince. And yeah, I think that is. So I just sent him an invite to our Saturday night naming thing. So warn him that he's getting strange invites. And
I've talked to him about it already.
Okay. And for Peg.
Now, Peg, if you need another week, I'm ready. I spent some time today. I'm already ready to run the next D&D game.
Okay, we'll do that. That way we know everyone that's going to be in.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Well, that'll be the 9th, April 9th.
No, Matthew, you remember Jeremy Gurley? Speaking of trumpet players.
No.
Star Wars North game. He was part of my wedding party.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do remember.
He's getting married for the 3rd time next Saturday, so starts at 4:00 in Murfreesboro. So I'll promptly duck out, but I may be just a smidge late for next week's session.
That's all good.
Because
RLTG.
Krista's got to work. So.
Right. We'll say howdy to him. Congrats, and we'll see you when we see you.
I may show up and just broadcast from Peg's house. Who knows?
That worked too.
Hey guys, we're bad.
That way we can see if you mutate into a cat or some other similar creature. Wait, wasn't that Chris a minute ago?
Ow. I did have one over here a minute ago. I got hold up in front of the camera for momentarily.
Yeah, they don't often like to be used as props, so that's true.
No, that's one thing. None of mine actually are.
All right, I just sent him the link via email. So
All right, so
we go.
we've given him fewer and fewer excuses, Neff. So
Yeah, I've actually got a picture of.
All right, good deal. Well, let's see. And I guess last bit of business, we haven't talked about this in a while, but again, wanted to give folks an opportunity to comment on Ukraine, any of the goings on there. I think this week, something that really caught my attention anyway was the fact that they sank a ship. The Ukrainians did, and a not small one either.
I've missed a lot of news this week, so I didn't hear that.
So, short version is the Russians are desperate to try to reinforce their southern positions out of Crimea because they can't create a land bridge because the one city they're trying to pound into, pound into hell, is still there, refusing to go to hell. Well, they have gone to hell, but you know what I mean. So they sent one of their landing ship troops, which is a large troop, armored personnel carrier, supply transport, and docked it at the ports, one of the ports in Crimea, along with couple other warships. And apparently, don't know how, the Ukrainians managed to detonate one of the ammo stores aboard, and she sank. She sank at the dock, the Orsk. And when the explosion was so powerful, it damaged, set on fire the two warships that were moored next to her. So, pretty significant development in terms of cutting off supplies from the Russians on that flank. So that was like, wow. And that's even before the talk of sending them anti-ship missiles, because there are many more ships out in the Black Sea that are lobbing shells and missiles at their way that maybe now they can do something about. Lesson for the Russians: don't dock your ships in Crimea.
Well, it's kind of funny because before that happened, there's memes because the farmers in Russia and Ukraine taking Russian armor with tractors. They're like, "Oh, thank God, Vasily, we're out here on the ocean." The next picture was a tractor treading water coming at them, and then this happened. It's just
Oh my gosh.
It's funny. The timing's funny.
I actually got a picture of one, pulling one ashore like he's beaching a whale, pulling a sub ashore.
Yeah.
Of course, I like the one pulling a sandcrawler too, but
I saw that one. Actually, that one made me laugh.
Yeah, I did see that one.
But yeah, the Orsk, ARSK is how it's spelled. It's kind of funny because we really have never seen the Russian Navy truly at work or anything like that. So it's just kind of funny, the first time they really start moving ships in, it gets blown up. But I used to have, I may still have, it mainly is Russian armor. I have a book of Russian armor, just all the tanks they would field. At one point, that was free literature, being mechanized. I even have a deck of cards. It's like everything they would field. It's like, that's a BMP. Oh, that's a T-70, or I don't know, it's a T-75. But it's kind of funny, the Navy not even losing it to naval warfare. It blew up in the dock. I just find it funny.
Well, every gain that the Ukrainians have made, they've had to make essentially with infantry. Anything they've done, I'm sure there's been, infantry and air defense. That's the other thing they seem to be really good at: air defense fighters and pilots. But in terms of their armor capacity and such like that, that seems to be, when that comes into play, it's something they took from the Russians, and used against them as a result. So go infantry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just all the evidence showing, it just seems that Russia never learned their lesson from Afghanistan, because it's really truly been people on the ground with Stinger missiles and a few other anti-air, emplacements. That's what's been knocking everything down. It's just, I just kind of find it funny, like literally, it's like, did you not learn? Did you, all the air support you lost in Afghanistan? And it just shows, once again, just because you have these choppers or these jets, that a guy with a long enough stick can reach out and tap you. So I just find it funny. Nothing beats a guy on the ground. Give him the right tools.
That seems to be the case so far. Okay. Well, anybody else?
I haven't received a lot of intel this week. Been kind of busy.
Yeah, RLTG.
I was reading about the Russians that were leaving Russia because of various reasons, and uh, media, reporters and people who've been arrested before for demonstrating. They don't want to be arrested again.
Well, a lot of that too, if it's verified, is Putin made a claim, and one of his close cronies also echoed it, that they were basically going to kill all traitors in Russia. Any dissenters, anyone that was a traitor, anyone that didn't talk against doing what they were doing, we got turned to the punch bowl, and they're going to take care of it. So a lot of people are terrified right now, and they should be. I mean, what was Putin before? He was the people with the black bags that took the sinners away. So if it is true that they are leaving, they have every reason to leave.
And I'd also heard that the Russians consider what's happening now as a passive purge. Please, by all means, you're a dissenter, leave. You will no longer be causing me trouble here. Go ahead and cause trouble in America or Britain or wherever, and you can yell all you want. We don't care as long as you're not doing it in Russian territory. That's passive purge. Later may come active purge, but right now, yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Scary times to be in Russia.
it is. It's wild. I think I saw an accurate tweet. It's like, they say history repeats, but I wasn't expecting 20 years worth in 2 weeks.
Yeah. We do everything faster in the information age.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, all I could say is if there are people that see the writing on the wall, now's the time to go, because there's gonna, like I said, there's a timeline. Once the passive purge is over, you will definitely be in the minority, and no one else is going to help you, and you're screwed.
Was the other development? Yeah, trying to remember the name of the island chain north of Japan that's been contested since World War One, actually, I believe, or even before that. Japan and Russia fought a war over a chain of islands south of Vladivostok, north of the northernmost current island, and they never really solidified the claims. And it's been contested territory, but not, they haven't been shooting over it. But they had a treaty that they were going to carve it up in some way, and that treaty fell through because of Japan's support of sanctions. And now there seems to be an indication that the Russians are moving to begin to occupy the islands, to actually actively take them, which escalation. So, and that seems odd in the respect that the Russians ought not to be picking more fights on more fronts.
Yes,
So
they don't do it. Figured that one out.
yeah, but so a lot of what's happened hasn't been rational. So why should that be?
Yeah, it's kind of like the claim that they're taking Alaska back.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Really laughed at it, because now, well, what they're doing now is they're pulling plays out of China's playbook, which is talking about Taiwan and Burma and a few other countries that have been independent for a very long time, but because at one point they were China's territory, they still have claim to it, regardless of treaties and everything that's already standing. So they feel justification, and so that's what they're going to do. If Russia actually intends on doing that, I think that is very foolish, because they thought they would immediately, that Ukraine would immediately capitulate. They thought it'd be like a one-day war or whatever. And the other thing too is Japan really ain't messing around anymore. For a long time after World War II, that was kind of like the country that didn't want to wanted forgiveness for its sins and didn't want to repeat the past, and kind of became very passive. But with everything with North Korea and China, they're like, oh no, we cannot be passive. And they rebuilt their defense force very rapidly. And I was going to say, I don't think it's in Russia's best interest to poke Japan. Because if they poke Japan, they poke us. And I think that's stupid. It'd be very bad.
China steamed some assets toward Taiwan until they saw all these sanctions.
Well, they also saw how bogged down Russia got, and I think they just went, ooh, let's rethink this. Hold on.
Yeah, like going, ooh, they hit them pretty hard, pretty fast. Let's just hold off a minute.
Yeah.
China's long-term positions haven't changed. They just tap the brakes. The situation is what it is.
The time, future action in Taiwan is inevitable. It will happen. Just the year is changing. They want it. They're gonna do something about it. But I think because Russia knows not to mess with any NATO country for now in Europe, they're gonna keep threatening Europe with the nuclear option. Like, don't touch us or push this button. So they may think, we'll just do the same with Japan, but everyone likes Japan. I don't know anyone that hates Japan except maybe China.
Japanese.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, do the Russians really want to mess with Godzilla? I mean, I wouldn't. That's a big deterrent. Gundams, no, they can. I'll see what those things can do.
Where kaiju come from? So
I hear half of them can make a pose and transform into a more powerful form.
I mean, there's a bunch of teenagers that randomly, morph into these outfits and just beat people up. I ain't having that.
You must learn patience, Ed Gruberman. Boot to the head. As the world turns. Oh boy.
Literally.
After female teenagers are demons.
That's true.
You have to have big paws and ears.
Dimitri, what happened? I was mauled by a little girl. Little girl? She wasn't girl. She was demon.
And then there she is eating an ice cream cone over there. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, tell us about the wounded. What can I tell you about the wounded that hasn't been told about hell? I have people here with pock marks, scratches, corn dog shoved up orifices. It is bad day. I mean, I can only imagine.
Better just be glad it was going to be a foot-long cheese coney.
God, get shot by some kid with cat ears on, then get Fortnite danced on while I'm bleeding out. God, I can only imagine. Just kill me.
And the thing about your Fortnite example, that was probably Canadian, for crying out loud. How polite are they? They're polite, but you get them in the game. My God. Yeah.
What does that sound? We're done for.
I can't.
It's like the Charge of the Rohirrim and Return of the King, but it's just a bunch of Canadian lumberjacks on moose. It was honored fighting with you, my friend. Wave. Yeah, that's something too. The morale of the men is legendarily low. We saw him get headshotted, and someone said, "Get good, noob." I don't know how to respond to that. One kid immediately just built the wall with borders. I don't know how that happened.
But there may still be your merit and idea of putting some of your other gaming exploits on Twitch in our name. You shooting down, Soviet equipment with javelins and giggling about it.
I have those downloaded, actually. That's the one cool thing about Xbox is that you can actually double tap a button. It'll take like a short, 30-second clip of what you just did. And when I was playing Battlefield, the most recent one, I have this unnatural talent of leading vehicles with a rocket launcher and blowing them away. Like, I'll take a tank missile launcher and take out aircraft. And with this one, I'm still pretty good at it. So I have several clips on my Xbox right now of me just going. You just see the cursor just follow, shoot forward, fire, rocket.
Oh yeah, actually, we can post pretty much any stuff like that. Particularly if you give it some sort of voiceover like you've been doing.
Yeah.
Here comes the corn cob.
Yakov Ukrainian, yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to Dimitri's Flight School. Here I'll be telling you about all the hazards of flying a MiG. First off, the plane itself. It will try and kill you every chance it gets. So be mindful of your surroundings. Number 2, other planes. Number 3, angry people on ground with high explosive rockets. Number 4, your own people. A good mechanic is a drunk mechanic.
See, you're halfway to production right there. Just keep
Yeah.
going.
You probably get the most views anything we put up.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good to me.
Just started off with just a yellow and blue banner, and then put on Dimitri, and here we go.
There's a guy on YouTube. He goes by Angry Cops. He's a former drill sergeant, and he's a police officer in Buffalo. And he'll post funny videos as a persona. And he did one after we pulled out of Afghanistan. He's I can't remember the name he did. It was like a military bazaar and menagerie. It's all like sales pitch commercial. It's like, we have 45 Black Hawk helicopters. You crash one, don't worry. We have plenty to spare.
Oh, it's the sneaky cat, the one that hides. What am I saying? They all hide.
They're all sneaky.
Well, folks, thanks for your time. Thanks for putting up with the game, and we'll see where we land next week.
Be well.
So
We'll see you then.
Yep.
everybody
Bye.
take care. Good night.